What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
If the opponent had forced them into combat, it was evidence that they were stronger than anticipated. Here, a tactical win had little strategic significance for the battle.
You mean the mission was a failure?
Huh? Yes, it failed. I wouldn't have fled if it hadn't failed.
What? But the plan was made by Feldway, right? How could that meticulous, cautious Feldway underestimate the strength of the enemy?
It is what it is.
It's not possible. How could the mission fail when Zalario and Cornu are present?
Because we've already suffered a defeat. I told Zalario to back down, but that Cornu bastard was most likely killed. In other words, none of the goals were met, so there's no reason to fight anymore.
Could this be a lie? Honestly, I don't think that's possible at all.
Gracia and Pico were stunned. Geld and Kumara, on the other hand, had proud faces.
Does that imply that you also lost?
What? Don't even ask me that. Don't you have the courtesy to pretend you're not aware?
Dino was as disengaged from his problems as he usually was. Gracia was taken aback, not by the information, but rather by his lack of concern for any of it. In any case, there was no reason to be skeptical of him. With calm thoughts, they both understood that the only course of action was to withdraw.
Oh no, this doesn't imply you won. Understand.
I understand. You were using some of your powers to keep the Labyrinth in working order even during our combat, right? Next time, I want to challenge you at your utmost strength.
Did you notice that? That's good. I'll see you later.
Gracia and Geld nodded to each other and bid each other a calm farewell. But, Pico and Kumara are different.
You did say your name was Pico. For now, at least, you get to stay alive.
What? I wasn't even trying that hard. Come on. It is you who should be grateful to your lucky stars.
They gave each other a savage gaze before grunting and averting their faces. Despite the totally different mood, the two agreed to call it a day. At this point, Dino and the others had successfully fled the scene. Zalario never lost his composure. He was supposed to create a distraction for this task, and he did it flawlessly. The troops he had brought with him were battling on equal terms with the resisting forces in the Labyrinth. They would have to update their intelligence on the enemy higher up, which was unexpected. Zalario came to that conclusion after evaluating the battlefield. The two individuals in front of him caught his attention the most. Zalario felt compelled to commit Cherries and Trainee to memory. Zalario came to the conclusion that he didn't have to become serious.
I was initially informed that this place just had a little rabble, but that doesn't appear to be the case. I had assumed that the enemy would use up every power in the Labyrinth in order to intercept me, but Zijin, the strong one, is still there. Before he wakes up, I hope Cornu and Dino can finish their assignment.
His concerns were somewhat unfounded, as Feldway's strategy was flawless. Zalario was able to confidently enjoy the battle since he believed that.
Oh no, when Sir Veldora finds out I was completely under the control of someone who is taking the easy way out, he's going to make fun of me.
You don't have to worry about that. Valgrind vanquished Veldora, and he is now in our control.
That joke isn't very funny.
It's not a joke. I assume you've spotted it already. You were growing a little impatient because of this.
Cherries was an extremely powerful Majin. Cherries was one of the very few exceptional skills, even to Zalario, the destroyer of many dimensions. Not as talented as Cherries, but still incredibly talented, was Trainee, the one who carried the Spirit King. Although her powerful magic seemed menacing, Zalario was largely unaffected by it, so it wasn't a major concern. Cherries was the same way. With skillful energy manipulation, he was able to condense heat energy and release powerful heat beams. Nonetheless, this may be rendered useless by Zalario's cherished distortion field. It was his calm and accurate judgment that Zalario should have been most cautious of. Cherries, in contrast to Trainee, would constantly attempt various strategies against Zalario. He fought warily, as though he was making sure every move would work. Experience had taught Zalario that these opponents were not to be taken lightly. But at this point, it was almost done. When Cherries panicked, he lost his meticulous demeanor. Zalario felt that it was time to call the combat as it was going to become much less enjoyable from this point on.
As much as I hate to say it, but how about we wrap things up? Despite the fact that you are both incredibly powerful and valiant fighters, you are not a threat to me.
There was a clear difference in strength. Additionally, Zalario had the benefit of having too much energy overall. The compatibility issue was the most important one. Compared to spirits, angels were inherently superior. Even though Zalario was a fallen seraph, Cherries and Trainee, who were grounded in the power of spirits, were unable to deal Zalario any serious harm.
Regretfully, it appears that Triss has reached her breaking point. I have only a few dozen seconds to hang on to the Spirit King. Do you still have any plans, Sir Cherries?
No, unfortunately. But don't worry. I've learned from both Sir Rimuru and Sir Veldora how to keep going when things get tough.
Cherries chuckles in the face of this seeming helplessness, declaring that the war has only just begun. When Trainee saw this, she grinned too.
All right, then, let me come along. We cannot permit these impudent trespassers to roam freely within Lady Ramirez's labyrinth.
Despite their severe injury, they were still prepared to battle. Zalario rolled his eyes since their hearts didn't seem to be breaking.
Come on, are you going to pitifully hang on to life till the very end? I don't think you're stupid enough to miss the signs. You're terribly mistaken if you believe that you can still bring yourself back to life.
Zalario estimated that it would not be long before Dino brought Ramirez out of the labyrinth. Ramirez's presence was the only factor that allowed the labyrinth to have its special immortality. All of the records would be reset if Ramirez exited the labyrinth after losing consciousness, but if she simply departed, everything would be fine. In other words, Ramirez's followers would no longer be immortal after Dino's job was completed. Zalario knew this, which is why he was allowing Cherries and Trainee to sustain injuries and was taking it easy on them.
If it would please you, I could give you a dignified and painless death as a reward for your bravery in combat.
That was how, as one of the most formidable fighters, he showed mercy. However, it was clear that Trainee and Cherries didn't care.
Ha ha ha. Do you seriously believe that you've already won, fool?
In fact, in a battle, anything might happen at any time. We shall always win as long as we never give up on winning. Do you not realize that?
Zalario was annoyed by that sore loser position, but not enough to lose his composure. He didn't like this sarcasm, though.
How obnoxious. I tried to show you some mercy.
Mercy? Hey, many people have been defeated after claiming that they will win in the end. Do you know the term for such talk? We refer to it as a death flag.
The things never to say list Cherries had previously discussed with Veldora came back to him. A few things should never be done, but the worst of them all is trying to look calm right before you win. It's imperative that you act and avoid distractions if your goal is to kill. If not, all you're doing is buying your opponent more time to retaliate.
Well, stop it. Do you expect a miracle to take place?
They do take place. Many of them were created by Sir Rimuru himself, and his forces have become so accustomed to seeing them that they frequently mimic them. And notice what we have right here.
First of all, just waiting about in this labyrinth would frequently be sufficient to reverse the course of events. This time was no different.
That's true. And I, the Gehenna Lord, Adalman, will be your opponent if you attempt to pursue Lady Ramirez, a friend and ally of my god.
There was another warrior who had shown up.
What does it matter if another fighter is added?
Zalario initially thought so. The fact that Dino hadn't gotten back to him sooner disturbed him more.
Far too slow. Even though I've been aware of Dino's tardiness for a while, I'm going to be in more and more trouble if we don't finish this quickly.
When things didn't go according to plan, Zalario's displeasure grew over time. Then a man who appeared to be a knight approached Zalario.
I am no longer a virtuous paladin, yet I detest fighting in a big group against a single opponent. For me, actions speak louder than chivalry, and I sincerely hope you will forgive me.
It was Albert who said this. Wearing a suit of god-class armor that Rimuru had given him, he had become a Gehenna paladin in addition to the more metaphysical talents that Adalman's awakening had bestowed upon him. Albert, as the rightful owner of the gleaming armor he wore, raised his sword towards Zalario.
This kind of man was still around?
Zalario found Albert's presence to be really impressive. His movements bore the aura of a swordsman, and the mythical great blade in his grasp had the ability to injure Zalario. Upon first glimpse, he realized this was something that could not be disregarded.
I'm also here.
This was the voice of Wenti, the dragon lord of the underworld, who had returned as a Gehenna dragon after emerging from her evolutionary sleep. She must have picked up this graceful bowing technique somewhere since she offered Zalario one. Zalario gave it a blank look in return. He became aware of the kind of predicament he was in. He should still be able to do it in spite of these opponents. That wasn't the point, though. Zalario could not win until Dino took action on Ramirez.
I would only be putting my hand in the enemy's face if I revealed my actual powers here. But until I do, it won't be sufficient to deal with these individuals.
Zalario made up his mind. He could manage Cherries and Trainee with restraint if it was just them. But Zalario would struggle much more with the presence of three powerful awakened demon lords. Feldway's strategy would fail if Zalario did not act as a distraction here. Zalario, who took pleasure in his mission success rate of 100%, could not tolerate such a situation.
It is unavoidable. Since I'm going to kill them all anyhow, let me prove my true abilities to them.
Zalario was about to decide when something happened.
Yes, I will tell you a story that might also be interesting to you. The 70th level of the Labyrinth is my area of protection, so why do you think I disregarded the intruders there?
What?
Since I don't want to give away the answer, I'll just quickly explain. The reason for this is that I was no longer needed there.
What do you want to say?
A dolmen, a skeleton dressed in a saint's garment, grinned sinisterly and chuckled. Zalario questioned again, uneasy about this.
Just a moment. What exactly does he mean? Is his presence not necessary there? Does this imply that Cornu experienced some sort of incident during the invasion?
Zalario came to the truth despite not hearing the answer. A dolmen told Zalario directly about what had transpired on the 70th levels, while his true intention was to make him waver.
Lady Velgrund has dispatched that stupid intruder. That's why I felt comfortable approaching you with confidence.
Zalario wasn't stupid enough to question those statements. Now that Cornu's defeat was established, Zalario made the decision to find out if the primary goal had been accomplished or not.
Oh, I see. Cornu has no chance against Velgrund. Even though a lot of strange things seem to be happening, they still need to be fixed. So you sent me the rest of your pitiful fighting force then?
He could only speculate as to why Velgrund hadn't arrived yet. It was likely due to Masayuki. He reasoned that Masayuki might be the heir of Rudra's soul after all. After reviewing the data gathered by the Imperial Intelligence Bureau, Feldway had decided to destroy Masayuki to rule out any possibility, but Velgrund appeared to have learned of it.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Chris Guzman, Havox, Speed Saber, Day of Light, John M, John Charles, Faiz Mansour, Dariha Skerte, Jackson Early, Smexy, Carl Stephen Bernadelle, Gareth Hashimoto, Jacob. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.